Hi you guys, Danny here. We are doing a February wrap-up. I feel like February was a whole lot of nothing. I mean, I know that it wasn't, but it felt that way. Like, it still feels that way. Like, looking back on it, I'm like, what in the shit did I do in February? I don't even know. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's talk about tarot. What did I use in February? I used, hello. I should always put stuff in like a better range where I'm not like right here. But you know, I don't. So there's that. Here's what we use. Cosmos, the Wild Unknown, the Sacere, and the Mini Queen's Tarot. My favorite by far, the Sacere. I used this quite a bit in February, not only for my personal readings, which really lacked. I'm not even gonna lie to you. February was not a good month for my tarot practice. But I used the Sacere for quite a few clients, and I loved every minute of it. I also used my Mini Queen's Tarot for a client or two. Had some really great results. I really did. I still feel like I need some more connection with this one because I love it a lot, but I feel like I need to use it even more to get more out of it, if that makes any sense. As far as for March, I'm not gonna lie, it's about to be springtime, and just as in the fall, I'm feeling the pull of the fae. So I feel like in March, you're going to see maybe the Hidden Realm Tarot. I have it right here because it hasn't really left my side much. The Hidden Realm Tarot, my Fairy Lights Tarot, maybe even the Tarot of the Secret Garden. I never fucking know the name. Secret Forest. I'm sorry. I never remember the name. I don't know why. And I love it. It's like so nitty gritty and earthy and just, but I never remember the name. I'm like, it's like the Secret Garden. I think it's like the Secret Forest. Anyway, I don't have it right in my grip. Otherwise I'd show you, but expect some fae. Expect some fae energy. I'm feeling super earthy. So next, let's talk about art. You can see this stuff has not moved. It hasn't moved. I've been really concentrating on trying to get that stuff started and done because the ideas keep oozing into my brain. I want to do it like this. I want to do it like that. But I haven't been able to do it this month because I focused on experimentation this month with acrylic inks and watercolors and different medias that I have, and learning what works and what doesn't work, because I've been trying to create some notebooks, some hand-painted, hand-lettered notebooks. And I was doing this because I have sent them off. They should be getting there next week for a giveaway that I'm doing as a collab with my friend Madeline from the Creative Luminary. I'm going to leave her links below. So I've been working on creating these notebooks that she's going to be using for a giveaway that correspond with one of the books that I read that she's going to be giving away this month in March, excuse me. So, do you want to see the mess I made? Oh no. I had this really nice, fun, bright watercolor background. I had some bomb-ass lettering, y'all. I was so proud of this lettering. And then I tried to seal it. Don't do that. So I said, you know what? Let's rethink it and try something different. So I did. And I came with this. You can see this is some more experimentation, which wasn't terrible. But when you look up close, you can see that this still bled out. This still was not doing what I wanted it to do. And my sealer just wasn't working. But in the end, I found some good paint markers, and I sealed and resealed, and I checked and I checked and I checked. And I was able to do it. So this you can see, I did front and back. I had a great time messing with my acrylic inks. But it really came out bad with that sealer on it. It was chipping, it was getting thumbprints in it, bubbles in the sealer. It was terrible. It was terrible. I even tried Mod Podge, I tried all kinds of different stuff, and I spent a lot of time and I screwed up a ton of stuff trying to get it right. But I finally did. I packaged those notebooks and I sent them off to Madeline. I got it. But that just means that now I realize what I'm doing. I understand where I'm going with this. And so it was a lot of fun to do. It was a lot of fun experimenting. I was covered head to toe in acrylic ink. It was crazy, but I learned a lot from it, and I think I'm going to continue to make my little notebooks. On to what next? Let's go into my grimoire next. My poor little thing did not see much love. What we had this month was bare bones. I literally added this page. This has a poem that is in the works. This has a lot to do with a situation that happened with my biological grandmother. So my mother was adopted. So my grandmother that passed away was technically my step-grandmother. But there's a big story. There's a lot of intricate little pieces. This was not something that was hidden from me or from my mother, but some stuff unfolded recently that caused just kind of this really big, like, mind-boggling revelation within me. So I sat down with one of my friends. I went to see her in February, and I was telling her about this occurrence. She said, when you have something like this happen, she's like, put it down on paper, create art, do something to hold those feelings and to pour that into. And I thought, what better magic, right, than to pour in a moment of time to your page. Pour it in there. Say the things that you want to say, create poetry, create art from it. It was so powerful an exercise. I did it when I got back home the next day. And it's just something that I'm really glad that I did, because like she said, even if I were to try to recreate this now, and it's only been a couple of weeks, I would not have been able to put it down so perfectly. I would not have been able to pour my soul into it, because that moment, those strong feelings would have already been over. So I just thought that that was a very powerful way to put something in to my grimoire, was raw and in the moment and powerful, because I can go back and I can revisit this and I don't have to carry it, number one. And I have something so pure that I can always go back to. My cat is making atrocious noises in here. Hopefully she will stay out, because that was disgusting. Anyway, ruining my train of thought. So moving on, this is the only thing I have set. The only other thing is my in bulk correspondences and some candles. However, y'all, I am literally knocking everything I touch over. I'm just saying. Anyway, however, I have pages worth of notes of things that are going to be going in there. Let's hope we have more to show by the end of March. Okay, books. I am way far gone. Okay, so I'm gonna have to cut this around. Books. Let's talk about books. I read 2 physical books, listened to 3 books this month. First one, Modern Witchcraft Book of Natural Magic. Mixed reviews. Okay, like, I'm not Wiccan. I always expect, you know, when it's something to do with Wiccan, like, I'm gonna feel a little bit left out because I don't really know what they're talking about, and that's okay, because that's That's for them. That's not for me. So that really didn't bother me much, but what did is like, okay, it says here, your guide to crafting charms, rituals, and spells from the natural world. There's really nothing about crafting your own spells or anything like that. Maybe that's where I misinterpreted. I thought that they was going to speak more about like, I don't even know. I don't even know. I guess I was thinking it was going to speak a little more towards plant magic and things like that. And while they do a great job at talking about elemental magic, as well as a really neat exercise and meditation for your spirit animal, there's just not the information that I expected. There's meditations, there's spells, there's rituals. Yes, there are within these within this book. The parts before and after those things, there's not so much in it. Mixed reviews. Maybe let's give a 5-star system. I would give this about 2.5 stars. That's kind of where it's at for me. I'd like, if you've read this, I'd like to hear your thoughts about it. Second book, and the one that I'm going to be in the giveaway with Madeline with, is this. Elizabeth Gilbert's Big Magic, Creative Living Beyond Fear. I'm not going to lie, when I first started it, like before I started it, I was very skeptical. I was like, I don't think I'm going to like this book. Because all I kept in my head was like, the author of Eat, Pray, Love. This is going to be very much like love and light and manifesting. Which I have nothing against, but like it wasn't what I was in the mood for. You know what I mean? Like there's sometimes when I don't want to read about that. You know what I mean? Like I'm not interested in that. I'm just in a different space right now where like that's not what resonates with me. And so I thought that that's kind of where this was going, but it's totally not. It's not. Not at all. I was very pleasantly surprised. To the point that I was reading this, I had checked this out on my Kindle for my library. And I was reading it there. I had tons of stuff highlighted. I finished reading it. I took snapshots of everything that I had highlighted. That way I wouldn't forget it. And I was telling my husband about it, and he was like, I really want to read it. He's like, why don't you just go buy it? I was like, I'll do that. Like, I will gladly do that. So I went and I bought this book so he could read it, and so I could highlight the pages and not have to keep all that on my phone and then eventually lose them. So she talks a lot about this philosophy, and I love it. It's kind of the idea that creative ideas are almost like entities of their own, and they come and they interact with you, and you either kind of set your own contract with them and agree to create these things, or they pass you by and they go to someone else because you don't do anything with them. She talks a lot about that, about how you don't have to have this mindset of this struggling, tragic artist that needs to be in pain and suffering to create something magical. You know, like we all have that mental idea of these tormented artists and the work that they produce because they're so... Do you see that, Paul? So she made me lose my train of thought. But anyway, like you don't have... Like it's not about that. That's a good way to push creativity away. It was really great. It really sparks you in a way that most things don't. I would give it a 5 out of 5 because I feel like if you have ever wanted to do something creative but didn't, if you're doing creative things but constantly doubt yourself, did I just spit? I'm sorry. It doesn't matter if you're an artist or you've never been creative in your entire life. It's about uncovering these things and allowing yourself to just be. And I think everybody should read this book. Read it. Okay, my audiobooks. Oh, see, I already messed this up. Okay. The first audiobook that I read was The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. This was a pretty good book. I would say about a 3.5. It's typical in the sense that in the past few years, there's been like an upsurge in a story where you have a main character that's super, super flawed. So kind of like The Girl on the Train, which was a fantastic book. This was not as good as that, but it was worth reading. But would I read it again? No. If I had to redo it, would I read it? Probably, because I don't mind that storyline, that basic storyline. I enjoy a flawed character, but there was nothing super exciting about it. You kind of knew eventually what was going to play out. You know, flawed character, something goes on, nobody believes her, she ends up being right about some things, wrong about the others, but on the right track. You know what I mean. So it was very typical in that sense, but not a bad book. Next, okay. So I've been like on a young adult kick. I don't know why. It's probably because of this book. I saw someone review this book on YouTube and they were like, a lot of people didn't like it. They didn't like the main character. And I was like, sold. I love a book where the main character, I'm like, who the hell do they think they are? You know what I mean? Like, I love a character like that. But I have to say, I really didn't feel that way. The Hazelwood is by Melissa Albert. This, I liked it. I want to read more about it. And that's how I feel like is a good novel. So, basic rundown, there's a girl and her mom who seem to have a crap ton of bad luck. Her grandmother was a famous novelist of a book of fairy tales that is almost impossible to find now. Very mysterious, kind of strange things going on. She moved out, her grandmother moved out into the Hazelwood and really hadn't been seen since. A lot of shady shit going on. Comes to find out there may be some truth to these fairy tales. And the main girl, I mean, she's not uber likable. I mean, I guess she's not, but in a way, it didn't feel forced. Like, it wasn't like overtly her being a little shit. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, I think we've all read books like that where it's just like, this character is too much. You know, I don't feel like she was. And I don't understand sometimes, maybe just because they are a younger character, the main character is younger, what would categorize this as so much a young adult? Because I guess because when I was a kid and I read young adult books, like, they were pretty PG, right? But like now, I mean, this book lets the F-bomb fly around like confetti, and I was like, all right, I'm with you, I'm down, you know? So it was a really surprising voice, I guess is what I'm saying. For a young adult book, it was a surprising voice. Like, there wasn't anything crazy about it, but the tone and the verbiage was refreshing for a young adult book. But it was interesting, and I really, like I said, I'm going into that like fairy tale vibe right now, and it was really dark, so I liked it a lot. So if you get a chance, if you like kind of dark fairy tale stuff, The Hazelwood is a really good book in my opinion. And the last book that I finished reading literally March 1st, so am I cheating? I don't know if I'm cheating, is Everless, which is another young adult, I believe, but I'm down with it, like I'm feeling it. So, Everless by Sara Holland is one of those series, this is the first in the series, that you have to understand the politics of the land to understand what's going on and to really get a grip of the story and why certain things are important. Now, I have to admit that Sara took a little bit of time, like she kind of throws you in there and you got to figure it out. The first couple of chapters, I was like, what? Like, I just was lost for a bit. I was trying to grasp what was going on. So you are thrown in, which I'm not opposed to, but I was lost for a little bit until I finally figured out what was going on. But the basic idea is that your blood, because of this drama that went down between an alchemist and a sorceress hundreds of years before. Your payment for things is done in blood. It's for your time, okay? So like your blood holds your time, so you are essentially paying for things by the hour, day, week, month, year. You create these coins from your blood, and it drains you of your time, or you can take these coins and consume them in a beverage, if you will, and gain time. So that kind of puts an upper class and a lower class, the people who are bleeding themselves dry and the people who have centuries on their hands. And that's kind of the political atmosphere of this series. So it's centered around Everless, which is this estate. And it goes into the lives of the people who live there, of the queen of this land, and of the servant girl who once lived in Everless, was removed. Her and her father were kind of chased away, in a sense. And then she goes back to help gain more time as this wedding approaches to one of the princes who live in Everless and the queen's heir. So it kind of talks about the aristocratic crowd and the servant crowd, and things sort of unfold in an unexpected way. At least I felt that they were unexpected. I had an idea of where this story might be headed and why this servant girl was important to the story, but it did go in a way that I wasn't expecting. So I do give kudos to her in that. She did a really good job at leaving enough breadcrumbs to keep you interested, like you wanted to follow that trail and continue on. And the ending definitely does that. So there's a second book in the series called Evermore, which I'm really interested to get my hands on because, like I said, the way she ended it was superb. And of course, I'm like 5 weeks out from getting it because I have it on hold at the library for my audiobook. So maybe by April I'll be able to get to Evermore. But this was, I would have to say, a good 4 stars. I enjoyed it. It took a while to get there, but I'm glad I did. So that was Everless. What else for February? I think that's about it. I really do. Yeah. I haven't done many magical workings. It's been very chill. It's been very strange. February has been strange. So March, I'm looking forward to it. We're going into retrograde. I plan on working with this energy. I plan on continuing my momentum. What can you expect? As far as videos are concerned, you can't expect my flat lay. I'm trying to do that either tonight or tomorrow. I've been trying to get my husband to help me, but he's constantly doing something because I need his phone. I can't just do it with mine and I have nothing else to film on because this films like shit. So I'm trying to get that to you in the next week. Like I said, you can expect a bit of the Fae in terms of tarot this month. Hopefully some big stuff in my grimoire and some artwork being done. Maybe some crafts as well because it is going to be the spring equinox. It will be Ostara, so me and Lynn are going to be doing a few things. So maybe I'll show you guys a few of those. And I'll talk to you guys soon. If you're looking for me, I have all my links below. You can go ahead and find that. And I will see you very soon. Make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps me out. I love you guys. Bye-bye.